Hey guys, Fred the Red here. Well, the 10-day window has come and gone. United did well to get Kuna over the line and signed and sealed. But I thought we'd have another one. But it's not a bad thing. Because by not signing Buemo and not signing Gyökeres, all it means is they don't come into last season's PSR under the deal which Kuna does. They go into next season's PSR, which means we won't be breaking any rules and getting any fines or docked any points because we stay within our PSR budget. So this is a good thing. Now Ketchup has got a very valid point to make. So if you listen to what Ketchup's got to say, you'll understand a little bit more of where we are right now as a football club and get some players coming through the door. Over to you, Ketchup.
Hey there, Fred. I've been doing a little bit of digging into how our budget's going to work for this season. And it's a little bit like you need to sell to buy, as they keep telling us. Because that deal with Kuna doesn't come into this year's PSR, it goes onto the back end of last year's. And we just about break even on that one. So it gives us a little bit more wiggle room going into this season's summer transfer window. But you can't get the likes of Buemo and Gyökeres over the line right now because we haven't actually sorted out the add-ons and the transfer fee, and you add all of that together. And then let's just say, for instance, you buy a player for £30 million. And that £30 million is on the back end of a 3-year contract. So that basically means that on each season, the player's only costing you £10 million. Over 3 seasons, that makes it £30 million. So what that basically means, you see, is that when we bought Kuna from Wolves, he had a £63 million release clause, but that release clause can be paid over 3 years. 3 years. So he's only costing us, realistically, £21 million a season. So with a budget like the one that we have right now, we have £140 million to spend this summer. Plus whatever we get for players that we sell. So we still have around £129 million still to spend on players. So we're now waiting. Just because the window is now slammed shut, it doesn't mean that we can't still do the deals. It just means that we can't sign the players until the window reopens. I believe it's in 6 days' time. But that could still hit this season's PSR, not next season's. So I think what you're going to find is Man United are going to get the deals done. They're going to have everything signed, sealed and delivered. And then we'll wait until July, because on the 1st of July, that's when it goes into next season's PSR. So it won't have any more effect on this season, and then we can go into next year. But don't forget with the PSR, we can lose 115 million over 3 years. So we can still technically go over the 140 million by a couple of mil, say 20, 30 million. And it won't affect our PSRs. There'll be no point deductions, there'll be no fines. We'll be okay. Plus, when the window reopens in June, prior to July, we can sell players to up the budget. So the likes of Sancho, who I don't think we're going to sell, and there's a little bit of a fine line between can we loan a player in the last year of his contract? Because some people say yes we can and some people say no we can't. But I have done a little bit of digging and I've looked up about the rules, and the rules state that you can. So we can loan Jadon Sancho and not have to be forced to sell him. But if we can't loan him and we can't sell him because nobody's interested, he'll be free to leave the club at the end of the season. But I won't be seeing him kicking a ball at Old Trafford or at any other club wearing a Man United shirt ever again. Then we'll also get the likes of Garnacho. There's a lot of clubs interested in Garnacho. So I think we might get the £50 million mark that we want for him. Then you got Anthony. Some people are saying that Anthony might not get sold in the summer. We might wait until January, because that'll look a lot better for us with the PSR as well. It'll work in our favour a little bit. You'll have to look a little bit into it yourself, because I can't find anything that's going to make us benefit from holding on to Anthony rather than sell him in the summer. Then you've also got the likes of Rashford. These are homegrown players, not players that we bought that come through the academy. So they're worth a lot more, maybe double. So if you sell Rashford for 50 million, he'll be worth 100 million to PSR rules, because he's a homegrown player, 100% profit, and we haven't bought Rashford. We got him for free from the academy. So that's how the PSR works. You see, Fred, with Anthony, it works out a little bit different. He cost the club 86 million in 2022 on a 5-year contract. So if you divide the 86 by 5, it basically means that each season it reduces the transfer fee by 20%. So with a 20% removed over the 3 years that he's been at the club, there's still around £36 million left on the contract before United break even. So to make a profit, they have to sell him for just over the £36 million mark. And that's the ballpoint figure that Man United are going to be looking at to sell Anthony, just so they can break even on the PSR rules. So yeah, I can see Anthony going for between 36 million and 50 million pounds. So if he goes for above that, then United are making a profit. And it's all about the profit that Man United make. Otherwise, it could come out of the season's transfer. So the 129 million that we got left after Kuna could be drastically reduced because we're taking a loss on Anthony. So it's all about making money and not losing money on players that come in to the ends of their contract. Which is why they're not going to let Sancho go, because he also came in on a high fee when we first bought him from Dortmund. So we're trying to get as much money back as we can without breaking the rules and reducing our transfer budget for this year. So that's why we have to sell the homegrown talent, because they're worth more money when it comes to the profit and sustainability rules that the Premier League are putting in place. That's why we let the likes of McTominay go, because he was a homegrown player and it was just pure profit, and it upped our transfer budget for that year.
So there you go, guys. Are you scratching your head as much as I am? But I can see where ketchup's coming from. And it kind of makes sense. That's why we're selling our homegrown talent, and that's why a lot of clubs are selling their homegrown talent. Because it's just pure profit. And when you break down the Sancho and Anthony deals, you can see why they're trying to either hang on to them or they're going to try and get as much money back from as possible. But they're not going to get as much money back as what they paid for them. So they've got to look at the PSR rules within order for us to not break into the transfer window and our budget just to sell the player. Because as you all know, after the season that we've had last year, we can't have a repeat of that.